is in case you missed any of the notes due to being absent or technology issues from the first day back of the semester. So please start by labeling your notebook today's date in Unit 4 Electron dot elements. These notes will have to be submitted at the end of this video along with some practice for your first semester 2 grade. So if you need any review for Electron dot elements or if you missed any parts of class, make sure that you watch this video and take good notes. So what is valence electrons? Think for a second, what do you know about valence electrons? Valence electrons are electrons in the outermost shell, or the highest energy level, and they are gained or lost in a chemical reaction. Pause the video and write down this definition. Valence electrons will determine how an atom will react. So when we join two compounds together, maybe it will, or just two elements together, maybe it will just bubble like we see here, or maybe it will be a big explosion depending on how the valence electrons interact with each other. We are going to skip this part, or we'll go through it quickly, but this is showing valence electrons, or elements in the group 1A, and when they are added to water, what happens. So first we have lithium with one valence electron, then we have sodium, notice it bubbles a little bit more. Potassium interacts at a greater rate, we even see some fire there, and then rubidium and cesium interacts greatly. So we notice the farther down it gets, we notice that the valence electrons, when we change, those valence electrons, even though they all have one valence electron, they interact greatly with that water. Valence is derived from the Latin word strength, which is just helping us remember that these do have a big influence in our reactions and they are strong. So a little review. How many valence electrons are in each of these elements? So pause the video and write those down. 6 valence electrons because it is in group 6A, so you should have 6 written down for that. And then carbon is in group 4A, so it has 4 valence electrons. And then we have beryllium, which is in group 2A, and that has 2 valence electrons. And then finally, we have potassium, which is in group 1A, so that has 1 valence electron. So make sure you have those written down. Next, we're going to look at what are some patterns that you notice in this. So pause the video, write down in your notes what are patterns you see in this chart. Hopefully you noticed that this is kind of similar to the periodic table of elements. This is group 1A, 2A, and then 13 we can also call 3A, 4A, 5A, so on and so forth. So we notice that all of the group 1A elements have just 1 valence electron, 2A have 2 valence electrons, 3A have 3, 4A 4, 5A 5, so on and so forth. And we can notice that these dots here are electrons, or valence electrons. And so it corresponds to how many valence electrons it has. So for example, argon has 8 valence electrons, and we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 electrons around it. Pause the video and see if you can fill in these 5 missing ones. Boxes, you should have said potassium goes there, and that just has 1 valence electron. Magnesium here with 2 valence electrons. Notice that the first letter in the element is capital and the second letter is lowercase. Then check selenium, chlorine, and krypton and make sure yours look like that as well. Next, we're going to take some time to draw the electron dot structures when we just have the element. So if we just had sulfur, we would look on our periodic table of elements. I would find sulfur. I see, oh, before we said it has 6 valence electrons, so I'm going to put 6 electrons around it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Carbon, we said have 4 valence electrons, so we have 4 there. Beryllium has 2. Make sure that you have written this in your notebook. Pause the video. Next, try these two examples by yourself. Pause the video, write them in your notebook. Great, so hopefully you got these two. We will check your answers when you turn it in. And then here are two final examples for you to do by yourself to write in your notebook. At this point, you should have all of the notes. Feel free to rewind the video if you need to see anything again. But other than that, make sure you submit a picture to Google Classroom and email your teacher if you have any questions.